So right away, we have the birthright citizenship decision. Now, this was a massive decision. A lot of people really, really looking forward to see what would go down with this. And the way it turned out, unfortunately, we have bad news, which nobody is really surprised about. Nobody truly expected this to go through. But the birthright citizenship is continuing to be protected under the Constitution with the 14th Amendment. That was what the Supreme Court justices decided upon. And honestly, it's a really ridiculous decision that was made. There's no way to walk around it. It's an insane decision. Now, just to give you guys a little bit of context, the reason that this was even in the Supreme Court was the current administration was trying to ensure that we couldn't have any more of this birth tourism. Now, what birth tourism is was people are coming over our border. They are coming over without any form of U.S. legal citizenship. They are not Americans in any way. These people are not Americans. They have no allegiance to America, nothing that is American truly in their blood. And they would come over here and have kids, and thanks to birthright citizenship, these kids would be made US citizens right away. And it's insane. It's an insane thing to do. Something that no other development nation in the world is doing right now. Nobody else says if you come over our border and have a child, that child is a citizen of this country. That doesn't make any sense. That's how you end up with kids who grow up with no allegiance to America. These kids, they're being born here, they're being raised in different countries, but they're maintaining a US citizenship because they're born in the United States. And that's never what the 14th Amendment was about. Give you guys a little bit of background, and this is something that Clarence Thomas wrote in great detail over today's decision, was the entire point of this amendment was to ensure that the children of slaves, which were recently released, would become U.S. citizens. Now, these were children born of parents who lived much, if not all, of their entire lives in the United States, and these are also children who will grow up and live in the United States their entire life. They will be part of American culture in some way or another. Now, what the Supreme Court decides is that that isn't actually the correct interpretation. Instead, somehow you are born here and you are a citizen no matter what the circumstances are. So it's completely undermining what the point of birthright citizenship actually is in this nation. And again, this is why Clarence Thomas, he wrote, I believe it was between 90 and 100 pages in his dissent. Clearly something that he was very passionate about because this is a very big deal. And maybe the most embarrassing part of this is how the vote actually went. So this is from Time. The Supreme Court on Tuesday upheld birthright citizenship, preserving the more than a 150-year-old constitutional guarantee that nearly everyone born on American soil automatically becomes an American citizen, and dealing a significant blow to President Donald Trump's effort to impose sweeping new restrictions through executive action. In a surprisingly narrow 5 to 4 decision, Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Amy Coney Barrett joined the court's three liberal justices, Sonia Sotomayor, Elena Kagan, and Ketanji Brown Jackson, to reject Trump's order, while Justice Brett Kavanaugh concurred only in the judgment and dissented in part, saying that the policy violated federal statute and if, in his view, it did not run afoul of the Constitution itself. Did you guys pick up on that? Currently, the Supreme Court has six so-called conservative justices, and then we have the female block of the three more liberal-leaning justices. So, what does this mean? Give me 1 minute. Looks like the stream is acting up a little bit. Okay, okay. I think it should be all right. Yeah. Sorry, there's a little bit of latency, but it should not be too bad. Yeah, yeah, we're good. So, back to what I was saying. Apologies for all of that. So again, the Supreme Court has so-called six conservative justices, six, which means any bill that we throw at them, or any decision that is thrown at them, not bill, excuse me, but any decision that they are supposed to be making should go to the conservative way. Because again, we have a 6-3 majority and then the female bloc. Guess what? Half of these so-called conservative justices are in no way conservative. They have no interest with conserving the nation. Of course, Amy Coney Barrett, somebody who, by the way, Trump appointed, maybe now looking back, one of the biggest disgraces of what the Trump presidency has been. And now all of a sudden we're looking at this and she's not a conservative in any way. This is a woman who was appointed by Donald Trump. But no, no. Of course, she's going to vote with the female bloc. It's like, come on, come on. I mean, nobody's surprised by this. Amy Coney Barrett, of course, has two adopted Somalian children herself. This is not some American patriot. No, this is a traitor. This is a traitor towards America. And anybody who voted against this is a traitor towards America, but especially someone like Amy Coney Barrett, who was appointed by Donald Trump to be a conservative on this court, to be somebody who's actually going to uphold America and prevent tinker babies. But no, no, Amy Coney Barrett and her Somalian children, excuse me, Amy Coney Barrett and her Somalian children go the way of the female bloc. And come on, we've just repealed the 19th already. How much evidence do we need? Genuinely, how much evidence do we need before we are going to be willing to repeal the 19th? These women are consistently voting in the way of disregarding our nation. Out of what? Empathy? This is the same reason why you look at national voting records. Republicans would easily win every single election, every single year, outside of like two states, I believe, one of which being DC. But these women, they all vote liberal. And why do they all vote liberal? Because it's the more empathetic decision. We need to do what is right, right? We need to let all these illegals in. These poor illegals, they're just they're just getting treated so poorly in their home nation. And it's our responsibility to take them in. No! What are we talking about? These illegals, the reason their nation is falling apart is because of the way they vote, because of the way they act. It's their culture that destroyed their nation. So what? We're going to bring them over here and allow them to destroy ours? Make our nation a third world country like theirs was? I'm sorry. I personally don't support that. I don't care if it's the not empathetic thing to do. I don't want people in masses coming over here with different cultures, with different allegiances, because it's the empathetic thing to do. No, no, these women, man, they're out of control. We got to control our women. Like, come on. It's insane. It's insane that this is the way that our country is ran. Why do we have four women on the Supreme Court? Obviously, this is a bad decision. Obviously, this isn't going the right way. It's terrible. It's a terrible idea. We need change. We can't let this continue, but it sucks because obviously these Supreme Court justices, they're confirmed for life. Trump's mistake by putting Amy Coney Barrett onto the court, now it's a lifelong mistake. This is somebody who's going to be on our court for likely 40, 50 years from now. That's how long the impact of Trump's failure will continue in this nation. So Amy Coney Barrett and her Somalian children end up being the reason why birthright citizenship is upheld to the word of the law. It's ridiculous. And then again, we also have our Chief Justice John Roberts, again another so-called conservative justice, and he also votes with the female bloc. It's like, what are we doing? And obviously Brett Kavanaugh, so his situation's a little bit different. He didn't necessarily say that the court has the ability to remove, or excuse me, he didn't say that Trump has the ability to remove it through an executive order. Instead, what he's pushing for is for our Congress to be the ones to do it. He's saying that the Congress needs to pass a statute to change the way that it's looked at based off of a 1940 statute, which what I previously read off in that Time article. So his dissent's a little bit different. But yeah, yeah, these two so-called conservative justices, they could have made a legitimate change, and we have somebody like Clarence Thomas who clearly is actually understanding what the 14th Amendment was for and what it actually means, and it's not saying that anybody can be in this nation for any reason at all. Ay, ay, ay. But yeah. Yep, that's the situation we're in. Donald Trump put a woman with Somalian children on the court, and it backfires. Well, well, well. It's insane to me that he can't push through his executive order, one that would actually help the nation because of a justice that he put into place. It's his own incompetencies. He is his own worst enemy. Donald Trump can't be the president that he promised to us because he's an incompetent leader. And until we as conservatives get that into our heads that many of our leaders are going to make these promises, but they are completely incompetent, nothing's ever going to change.